Very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and I welcome on behalf of MTC Global to all of you in today's program on quality assurance in higher education. And before we start with the program, just let me talk the context of this program. Now, this particular program, I'll be discussing certain areas which are based on my own experience as a consultant to World Bank HECE project, Higher Education Quality Enhancement Project. And also in MTC Global, we started two initiatives a few years back. One is MTC Global accreditation process, and the second one is MTC Global rating process, which are, of course, independent process. And these are designed by some of the top academicians and also based on my World Bank quality assurance process experiences. Now, whenever we talk about the quality assurance, three things come to our mind. One is quality control, the second one is quality assurance, and third one is the quality enhancement. And we all are into quality assurance process wherein certain parameters are given by the NBA, NAC, and other government regulatory bodies, and we need to conform to those parameters. I think quality enhancement is a process wherein you talk about academic innovations, whether we're coming out with a lot of academic innovations or not. There are two areas across the world we find out the challenging areas. One is academic innovation, and the second one is academic leadership. To talk about quality, there is a beautiful saying. There is always scope for improvement, correct? And the greatest room in this world is for the room for improvement. I think no one can say or demand that my institution is the best institution, because in this dynamic environment wherein corporate needs and preferences are changing, and also the culture, we're going through a cultural transition process, environments are changing. I think the academics, we need to keep pace with the changing environment. I think that's very important. There is a beautiful saying of Jon Snow, and it goes like this: we look up at the same stars and we see such different things. That means, see, UGC has given us the common, the quality parameters, the common guidelines, the outcome-based education, everything is common. But we find there are a lot of differences in the quality processes in different institutions. Why it is so? I think that's one area we need to understand. So before I go into the depth of quality assurance, let me just start with a simple story of a farmer and a son. A farmer from a village always had a dream to educate his son in a good university in any city. So he struggled a lot throughout his life and saved money for his son's education. So when his son passed out the PUC, the pre-university degree, so he took his son to one university. And when he entered inside the premises of that particular university, so a lot of people came and take the farmer and his son to different places in the university and showed him, see, this is our university, this is our classroom, gallery kind of classroom, this is our club, cafeteria, so many things. So farmer was a little bit confused. And at the end, the farmer asked, where are the teachers? I think that's very, very important. See, fundamentally, the main stakeholder besides student, the main stakeholder in the academic process is the teacher. And there is a beautiful proposition. The quality of any academic institution cannot be better than the quality of its teachers. I think that is largely true. Sans teachers, no reforms. They are the heart and soul of the institutions because they only interact with the students. They impart teaching to the students. So until unless their concerns are taken care of properly, I think we cannot ensure quality processes in academic institutions. That's very, very important fundamentally. There are certain trends which we used to talk before this COVID-19 came in. And the number one is the emergence of online teaching. I think very few institutions are prepared to carry out full-fledged online teaching before COVID-19. But after this COVID-19, I think all the institutions have geared up and teachers got mastery very quickly in engaging the students in the online classes. And that's something very, very fantastic. That talks about the readiness, the adaptability, and flexibility of the teachers and also the students. We never thought of that we'll ever engage day after day classes online. That's something fantastic. Before this COVID, I think the Stanford, the Harvard, and a lot of other institutes across the globe, they already started the massive online open courses. And the best examples all of us are aware of is edX, Coursera. I think the second big change which we are experiencing because of this unprecedented time is the digital transformation. Whether it is an academic institution or any company, whatever business it is or whatever sector it is, all organizations are going through digital transformation process. So technological knowledge, technological know-how is important now, not only for teachers, but for students also, irrespective of their disciplines. So usage of artificial intelligence, the machine learning, and the analytics to understand students' learnability, I think these are in big demand. If you look at the industry, the expert says IT sector is the fastest sector which is going to grow leaps and bounds, beside your pharmaceutical, healthcare sector, and financial sectors. I think education sector is under big hit because you don't know. UGC has said that September, October, the academic session will start, but nothing is decided. And the way today morning in the newspaper it was there that India has crossed 1 million COVID. So I think that is something very, very alarming situation. But given this situation, we need to make use of the time we are not going to the academic institutions, how we can betterly equip ourselves to engage the sessions more effectively. The next big trend in education space, which is research-based learning. In other words, we can put it hands-on learning. Can we ensure more of PBL, project-based learning? I think that is the only need wherein AICT has said that 4 mandatory projects for the engineering and for the MBA 2 projects must in their programs. I think that's a very positive notes. Okay, the hands-on activities, the field experiences are very much important in the teaching learning process. The third one is the personalization and the customization of learning process. One size doesn't fit all strategy. In a class of 40-50 students, we cannot ensure that whatever, how best we prepare and go to the class, that all students will learn in the similar way. I think that's what is the need for, and we know that most of the all of us, we have the remedial classes, we have the tutorials, we do analysis of the students' learning, and we categorize the students also, like star students, gifted students, average learners, slow learners, and accordingly, we develop program and tutorials and remedial classes to address their concern, to ensure that there is 360-degree holistic development. There is another big trend, and I'm sure that all of us are aware of, before this COVID-19 itself, Ernst & Young and Google, they have removed education as an eligibility criteria in the selection process. And few days back, Trump administration, they made an announcement that for all government jobs in US, the educational qualification does not have any value. If the individual has the requisite skill sets, then that person can be employed. I think that will set a precedence. And we can see today, because of low mobility, particular this year, academic session 2020-21, majority of the metros, the institutions having tough challenge because a lot of students comes from east and northeast to study in Bangalore, Pune, and Mumbai and Delhi, other metro areas, but these students are not able to move this time. There are a lot of challenges in terms of admission processes. And we see that rise of micro-credential. The companies like Udemy and Academy, they have floated thousands of online courses. Even the Upgrade, AICT has a tie-up with the Upgrade company also to cater analytics, robotics, and machine learning courses to the engineering students. I think these particular companies, they are focused the niche area wherein the corporate needs the skilled manpower, and many students are opting for this kind of short-term micro-credential, the certification programs, so that they can get absorbed in the companies. End of the day, we know that whatever efforts we put, the students they put, okay, the money they invest, they need return of that, and that can only come when they are engaged or they are employed in the corporate sector. So academics, the purpose of education, however, may be different to create a value-driven, socially responsible, holistic human being. But having said that, job is also equally important. So the changes like online educations, the changes like usage of this analytics, artificial intelligence, machine learning, okay, and the dominance of skills. Now we know that UGC has issued one directive that by 2021, all academic institutions in India must implement the OBE, outcome-based education. I think that's the whole purpose of skill, embedding skills into the education, because outcome-based education is nothing but along with the knowledge and the information, whatever students are supposed to possess at the end of certain programs, they must have the generic skills and the day one skills so that they can be absorbed in the companies, in their dream job, whatever it may be. I think these are some of the changes. And during this unprecedented time, I know that how much efforts the teachers, all of us are putting, and how much research you are doing, online research. And someone was talking other day in one of the webinars wherein I was engaged, and he said that the best learning is happening during this time because students are taking a lot of interest to browse through the internet, go through different blogs, different websites, get the information, which is not so in conventional before COVID. And self-learning, we know, is the best learning. I think a lot of challenges. See, whatever we do it, and we know the teachers, we take so much preparations. We go to the class, and we see that we teach, we put our best, but we see end of the class, not all students are on the same wavelength. I think that is called the elephant in the classroom. We teach, but some students don't understand. So basically, what we can do to ensure that 100% students get whatever we teach. I think that's another area in the teaching learning process we'll address, how we can ensure the quality assurance process, particular in teaching learning as well. Now, if you look at, now let me share some of my experiences under World Bank project, the HECE project, Higher Education Quality Enhancement Project. The number one, see everyone, I know that all of us are aware what happened last 1 or 2 years in some of the top university campus in India. There was a lot of debate in the media on academic freedom, is it not? On academic freedom. I think why US universities are so famous, because not that their learning happens inside the class, but majority learning happens in the learning environment outside the classroom, inside the university premises. And there is a lot of academic freedom, expression of freedom. So this academic freedom, number one in the governance, the academic leadership. I think the second point, the autonomy, the flexibility, the independence, what faculty members enjoy. I think these are some of the areas, as I said in the beginning, until unless the teachers are happy, their concerns are taken care of, we cannot ensure quality processes or quality adherence. Because who will deliver the quality? Not any governing body, not any regulatory. I think teachers is the ultimate individuals, the personalities who will deliver the quality. And if they are not happy, I think it will be very, very difficult to ensure the quality processes, whatever we may talk about. So the governance is the first area wherein we all need to work on the academic freedom, the autonomy of the faculty, the independency of faculty. Okay, I think that's very, very important. The next one is also important. We're talking about in the curriculum design, content, and the review. Now everyone is talking about industry institute gap, is it not? And we know that no regulatory bodies in India also, they have taken a lot of initiatives to reduce this particular industry institute gap. And we see that institutions, they have industry institute, interface cell, they have the corporate resource center, and a lot of initiatives are taken to reduce this particular gap. Because end of the day, whatever we do it in academic institutions, we need to meet the corporate requirements. That's very, very important. So how we can reduce this gap? How we can reduce that gap? We need to have very dynamic curriculum. Everyone say that we need to have a dynamic curriculum. Our curriculum is very old dated. And there are different studies by NASCOM, CII, okay, and ASSOCHAM that only 50%, only 10% of the engineering students are employable, 11% of MBAs are employable. How we can address this particular gap? How we can enhance the employability of the students? I think that's one area can address in the curriculum, and that can be done through outcome-based education. I think that is a very scientifically designed. If we can follow the outcome-based education, I think largely we can address this particular gap. But having said that, I think there are different other mechanisms through which we can add values to the curriculum, because industry changes so fast and curriculum is developed at a gap of 3 to 4 years minimum. So during this time, there are a lot of challenges. So what we can do, we can bring in a lot of value-added courses based on industry needs, changing needs, and we can implement those courses as a non-credit or credit hours, how it is feasible. I think we can add values. We can do a lot of corporate connect program. You see, Infosys, they have the Campus Connect program. TCS, they have the sports program. Wipro and a lot of other companies, they have specifically designed programs to connect with the academics. I think we need to engage in those kind of programs so that students get the best input from the corporate. And we know that this industry expert lecture, okay, the CEO meet, HR meet, and all those are being practiced in academic campuses to ensure that we strengthen this particular gap. So curriculum is very, very critical area. And while designing the curriculum in outcome-based education, now we talk about pedagogy, andragogy, and heutagogy. Okay, so pedagogy is basically for the school level, and andragogy is for the higher education. So we're talking about heutagogy, wherein creative things we can create a lot of creative things. I think that is very, very important. So if we can have a very dynamic curriculum, I think most of the most challenges, whatever today we have in the education space, that can be addressed. The next is physical facilities. I think many institutions, those who have invested crores of rupees on physical infrastructure, today they are finding that these are of no use until unless you invest on IT infrastructure. Many institutions, they have the foresight and they already have developed the e-labs, right? So many engineering hands-on laboratory practices can be conducted into the e-lab also. But physical facilities is very, very critical, right? I think, and most of the institutions, they must have, because they have got the approval, means they have certain parameters by ICT UGC, and those must be met for the to conduct the classes properly. I think IT infrastructure and investment on the IT architecture is need of the hour. The teaching, learning, and the assessment, I think another area which I was referring to, the big elephant in the classroom. Okay, we put our best, we try to connect with the students, but end of the day that we see that many students are not learning what we intended to learn. Once again, in the teaching learning process, if we follow the outcome based educations, I think most of the problems in teaching learning can be addressed. And there are a number of ways, right? There are a lot of innovations in the teaching learning process what can be put in use while we teach or engage the students in the classroom. To talk few methods, I think in the business schools, especially, we do a lot of management games, role play, syndicate exercise, right? In basket exercise, mini project, okay, the group discussions, the innovation cell, okay, a lot of things we do it. And similar kind of practices are also there in other disciplines as well. And today, in the teaching learning process, you also include the entrepreneurship education also. Okay, how, and we know that Atal Innovation Mission and a lot of initiatives are taken by Startup India, okay, initiatives, and Government of India, Digital India, to encourage the students or to embed entrepreneurial mindset among the students. And all institutions today, they have the ED cell. Many, they have the Atal Incubator also, which is funded by Government of India. So there are a lot of positive things are happening in the teaching learning process. And I'm sure that by 2021, if all the institution can adhere or embrace to outcome-based education process, which is a need as per the Washington Accord, right? We all should have the outcome-based education so that our education will be equivalent anywhere. And India and it's good that India is already a signatory of this Washington Accord. Now, whenever we talk about the pedagogy, I believe that in the outcome-based education, we have addressed the Bloom's taxonomy, right? Bloom's taxonomy, the education objective, the program objective, okay, the course objective, the learning outcomes, the course outcomes, all these need to be mapped. And I'm sure that those who have already adopted this outcome-based education, they were aware of how mapping is done from the mission to the program education objective, program objective, course objective, then with the course outcome or the learning outcome. I think that's a very, very scientific process, very scientific process, wherein we can ensure that the ultimate outcome, the students, once they're passing out of the college, they have the requisite skill sets. The student support services, I think that's another area wherein a lot of focus is given today. The career counseling, the mentoring, I think all places we have these activities, but how we can enhance these activities so that students we can encourage them for higher studies, or those who want to become the entrepreneur, we can support, do proper mentoring, or develop them with the requisite skill sets so that they can find a good job. Alumni association, I think many top institutions, they are famous because they have very strong alumni association. A lot of funding also comes, a lot of placement also comes from these alumni. So I think this is another area where the institutions need to work on to strengthen the alumni linkages, because they bring in lot of resources in terms of guest lecture, industry expert lecture, in terms of funding, in terms of placements, in terms of corporate mentoring, in terms of internship to the students. I think these areas need to work along with the community services. I think a lot of community activities are happening, and UGC has some funding also, MHRD, wherein institutions, they adopt a village and try to develop that particular village. The things are happening one of the parameters which is very critical, okay, we can say it's a key result area, is the research and the extension activities. For any kind of accreditation today, whether it is QS accreditations or Times Higher Education accreditation, a lot of efforts are given on this particular research and extension activities. How these activities are carried out, how many patents are developed, okay, how many people they have done industry sponsored research, good research, how many chair professors are there. I think the MDP, the consulting activities, I think these are some of the areas wherein institution need to work if any institution want to excel. I think majority of the institutions, their major sources of income is the revenue, is from the fees of the students. I think if we can earn a good chunk of revenue from this extension services, research, MDP, consulting, and the executive programs, okay, this kind of activities, I think then financial sustainability will not be a big problem for the academic institutions. The guidance and counseling, what I was talking about, that's a continuous process, what we need to adhere to. Continuous improvement, I think that's one area wherein a lot of innovation happens. Now, once we get certain accreditations, NBA and NAC accreditations, that means definitely we are of certain standards and we have put a lot of efforts to achieve certain targets as specified. But we need to continuous improve those targets. As I said, that there is no end to improvement. Always there is scope for improvement. I think this is particularly when I worked under HECAP project, I have seen that these are some of the areas wherein, and largely I think these are the areas which are covered even in NBA and NAC accreditation as well. I think these are the areas are common. I think these are areas are common not only for NAC, NBA, even for QS, Times Higher Education ranking also. These are common areas, but wherein marking may be different on particular parameters. So thank you so much. I once again thanks all of you for your gracious presence for today's session. Now I'll just open up this particular session so that we can have the question answers. I think that's very critical, and that's the major area of the today's deliberation. We can have more of questions so that all of us can share our views on that, and probably that would be a good learning for all of us. Thank you so much once again for all of your presence. Now, any question, please? Thank you once again.